Well, we broke Robo Rumble. We found an easy way to get the maximum possible time, and now I think there's like thousands of people who have it. So now what? Alright YouTube, in today's video I want to talk about Robo Rumble. If you guys didn't realize, this past weekend, well, I mean, just look at this clip of the Robo Rumble leaderboard. Look at how many people have the maximum time, 13 minutes and 14 seconds. Needless to say, we broke Robo Rumble. Shout out to Brawl Stars Dave. He's the one who did this clip. I was going to record it too, but the new leaderboard got rid of a bunch of the extras. Now they only have like 5 up there. But earlier, it was even longer than this current video you're seeing now. There was maybe 2 or 3 times as much people on here. So a lot of people broke Robo Rumble. Essentially, they used the really easy strategy of just kiting the robots, not killing any of them, and just running around in a circle for 13 minutes and 14 seconds. And needless to say, that probably isn't how Supercell intended Robo Rumble to be played. In fact, this morning, there was a post from Brawl Stars that said exactly this, titled Robo Bumble. Hey Brawlers, so you broke Robo Rumble. We hope you're happy. You guys are too smart for your own good. And then they go on, we'll work on a fix as soon as we can. No ETA yet, and we're not 100% sure how we're changing. We're happy with having randomized maps and don't want to go back to the pre-mades, but they definitely shouldn't be exploitable as they are in the current form. And then they go on to say, one idea we're bouncing around is to have kill bots that only target the safe. That would be interesting. We'll be sure to update you when we have a solid plan and an ETA on the fix. So yeah, as you can see, Brawl Stars does not want it to stay this way either. I mean, guys, let's talk about what should be done to Robo Rumble to make it so this can't happen again. Obviously, this is way too easy of a way to beat Robo Rumble. I mean, the whole point is supposed to be killing robots and surviving as long as possible and not letting them touch the safe and having to defeat boss robots, not to just run in a circle the whole time. So I want to talk about different ideas that we could do to fix this, because it might not be an easy fix, and of course we still want the experience to be as enjoyable as possible. We still want to be as survivalistic as beat the clock as possible and not make it about running around in a circle. So I'm going to go over my ideas, but make sure to let me know your own down below and what you think as well. I mean, to me, there's a couple really easy different ways you can fix this. Of course, there is the one that Supercell suggested, which is to have a kill bot that only targets the safe. I think the one way to think about this is if you played Clash Royale, it would be a little bit similar to a card that only targets a tower. It's just a targeting mechanic. So basically, you would just have a robot that would spawn randomly, and it would just always go and shoot the safe. Personally, I really don't think I would like this unless they were really easy to kill. Because as you get later on in the waves, you have those, once you pass the last boss, you have to deal with those melee charger robots that have over 16,000 health. And if you have to deal with those on top of robots that just go in and always attack the safe, I feel like you're going to be in a lot of trouble. It's just going to make it all even harder unless you're going to change the stats of other robots as well. If you do something to make it so it's just as difficult to get the max time as it was before the running in circles, then I'd be fine with it, but I think that might make the balance kind of difficult. So, I mean, another way to get around it, I think there's a couple possible ways. I mean, one, currently there's a maximum amount of robots that can spawn. You could increase that maximum so it's even harder to run around in a circle. You would have to increase the maximum by a good amount, though. I'm not quite sure how many robots are able to spawn at the moment. It looked like it was around 20, maybe 25, maybe even 30. I'm not quite sure. And then one boss. If you could make it so it was like 45 or 50 robots, basically what that would do is it would allow a lot more of those fast mouse robots. And those mouse robots are generally the hardest to deal with. But you could still maybe get around that with the Mortis strategy. There might be certain maps that still allow it, and you could still just use Mortis's dash to escape away. So just having more robots spawn might not be the best solution. But on the other side of it too, one of the hardest parts with this strategy is in the beginning is running around and trying to survive while those robots spawn randomly. If you are still doing that strategy and let's say you're 30 robots in and it spawns up to 45, you have a train of 30 robots behind you, and then 5 robots spawn randomly on the map. You're not going to be able to avoid them all, and that is one of the problem early on, is sometimes you can't avoid all the robots because they spawn randomly, and they end up spawning next to you basically, and you have to deal with them as they spawn next to you, and you do get dealt damage. So maybe that's one way. It would allow more of those fast melee robots, and you would have to deal with more robots at once, which could be a big problem. But if you're trying to get that max time on your profile, maybe if you did it 20 times, you could still maybe get it once. You know, if that's possible still, even to that degree, I don't think that's the best fix. So what else could you do? I mean, you could increase the speed of the robots. You could increase the speed of all the robots for one, or you could increase the speed of just the mouse robots and then maybe allow a little bit more to spawn. And if you increase the speed of the mouse robots, I mean, that'll make it harder for that Mortis to be able to heal up, because they'll be catching him even more often, catching him easier. They're going to be dealing him more damage. That could be one way around, is increase the speed of the mouse robots, and then you also need something small else to go with it, like a little more robots spawning. Or you could go in another totally different direction. I don't know how well this one would work on the developer side. Like, I don't know how easy it is to implement this, but if you could have the robots like either have a self-destruct thing after so many different rounds, or you could have the robots interact like a boss and have decay. If they have health decay, like a normal boss in boss fight has health decay, so even if he's not being attacked, the boss is still losing health. If you have the robots have the same thing, where they have health decay, so maybe they're losing, maybe after a minute or 2 minutes, they'll end up dying. Something like that, where the robots end up dying, and that way new robots spawn, and that way you have to deal with higher health robots throughout time. That could be a workaround as well. That way you're not going to have just those really low health, really low damage, and no like fast mouse robots. You're not going to have that going on. You're going to have having to deal with increasingly harder robots and increasingly more of those mouse robots to deal with as well. Here's another sort of similar suggestion. This one is by MRIT03 on Reddit. They said, of course, there is that limit to the number of robots. What happens once you reach that limit to the total maximum number of robots? If you haven't killed any of them, a timer starts down. You have 15 seconds, and if you don't kill any robots within those 15 seconds, then the game ends. It ends. So if you're going to try and do that strategy and you're going to have them run around in a circle and not kill any robots, well, after you get to that maximum number and you don't kill any, you're going to have that timer start down, and once that timer reaches 0, the game is going to end. So you have to kill a robot. I think that could be a good way to solve it, because it's going to force you to at least kill one robot, I guess every 15 seconds or something like that, depending on how the timer would reset. But that could be a potentially pretty good solution as long as they're able to do it. You could also potentially do something like, well, normally after the last boss, those boxer melee robots become charger robots and start charging at you. Well, maybe you could have that charge happen just right away. As soon as the game starts, they're able to charge at you. This probably wouldn't be the best solution. I think there could be some maps where the robots wouldn't really charge, because if you're able to time it well enough to where you're sort of hidden by a wall, they're not going to charge at you. If they're sort of going in your direction still, they're waiting to be in your line of sight, and then they'll charge at you. But even still, that alone probably isn't a good enough a fix, and honestly, those are the least fun robots to deal with. I don't really want more of them. Alright, well, I'm going to keep this video short, but I want to hear your guys' opinion down below. What do you think should be done with Robo Rumble? How can we fix this exploit and get Robo Rumble back to the way it was before this? Alright guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.